Well, it's a real pleasure to me to recognize a dear friend. Duane's wife, Marilyn, and my wife, Susan, have been good friends and colleagues in many things over the years as well. Duane has devoted 40 years and more to developing and promoting programs and policies that support clean water and sustainable agriculture. He's developed an expertise and a unique niche in watching for trends and identifying funding opportunities to enable the crafting of really progressive new programs and change. In many ways, all the years that Duane and I worked together at Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, I always considered him our personal R&D department. He was always the one doing the research and looking forward. And he was always 3 to 5 years or more ahead of the rest of us. I also distinctly remember when he came to the foundation early on. I think you were the 4th staff member. He boldly came in and told us that he wanted to help develop a soil and water program focused on soil and water conservation, which we desperately were looking for at that time. But one of his first ventures was to take our board chairman and Duane to go to John Deere corporate headquarters and talk to the president of the company and proceed to tell him that they needed to change the cover on their magazine and change the name because it was called the Furrow, and it always had these wonderful seeds on the front of rototilled soil, and they were our principal funder of that. So his boldness really shone through at that point. He has an incredible base of knowledge and a great network that includes many of you here and others. Many of you have also been involved in challenging the status quo, sometimes making many of us uncomfortable as he tried to figure out how to advance the cause of conservation. And he was able to do that. And many of you, even though you challenged sometimes, I know look back at those times now and say, yeah, those were important things to work on. So he really started as our resourceful farm program director as we were developing a program around the state, trying to show good soil and water conservation practices. He helped expand the Trees Forever program. When it was an infant, it came under the foundation. He was heavily involved in the conservation provisions of the 1985 and 1990 farm bills that we've talked about so much. And he was one of the early advocates and figured out a way of developing the funding source to close those awful ag drainage wells in northern Iowa that had been the bane of the state since they were created. And we're forever thankful for that. And we're still trying to close the last of them. He came back to the foundation after a stint a couple other places and came back as our public policy director, a position just perfect for Duane. Again, we love all to, I think, challenge legislators and try to get them on the right path, and Duane did that. But his real expertise, I found, was looking at existing programs and identifying a need and saying, if we just tweak this just a little bit, and if we change the law just a little bit, and we just change the rules a whole lot, we can make these things work. And he did that with the State Revolving Loan Fund, made loans available to farmers to help and urban users to help them clean up the water. He was one of the original brains behind the Iowa Contribution Tax Credit that has been a boon to promoting. He was also early on the person who was helping put that critical research together that resulted in the creation of the Natural Resources and Outdoor Recreation Trust Fund that was constitutionally protected. He has worked to protect source water. He's worked with the drinking water utilities and others, and he's served on numerous boards. You should know what he's doing now is also follows that path of innovation and challenging others. His job right now, he's retired officially, Anybody who knows Duane, that that's not going to fully happen. But he's working now as the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation's floodplain outreach coordinator. He's taken that data that people don't want to know about. They don't want to know their homes in a floodplain. They don't want to know that their farm is about to be wiped out in the next flood, and trying to make them aware of how they can change their management practices and that change that is coming over all of us, not only because of climate change, but because of poor land use. I've had the pleasure of being associated with Duane all these years, and he's been with the foundation for 34 years. And Duane, I'm thankful, I think we're all thankful for all you've contributed to Iowa, and that you continue to contribute for soil and water conservation. And I would say in closing, congratulations, Grandpa.